would you kindly join your panel of experts in the waiting area? Thank you so much. Okay, we have decided that we're going to be informal in this room. So I'm not getting an introduction by the organizers of the conference, but because the room is about half full of people who work for one of the brands with which I'm having a huge honor to speak today. Other half full of the people who work with me or for me, and vice versa, who have worked for me previously but now work for the brands, etc. So I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Tatiana Veller, and I'm the managing director of Stirling Hospitality Advisors. We are the advisory firm in hospitality and tourism based out of Ras Al Khaimah, a humble emirate where a lot is happening now. And I have an honor of moderating a panel on sustainable development in the Middle East. And I am joined by the best of the best in hotel development in the region from 4 renowned brands. So gentlemen, would you please join me on the stage? Ramine from Minor Hotels. Thank you. Please take your seat kindly. And Carlos from Hilton.
You got a bigger chair.
Excellent. And Elie, you don't like to sit in the middle? You can move back or forward if you'd like. Be more. You can lay on the floor.
I prefer to stand. I mean.
Okay. Okay. And Elie, please join us on the stage as well from Residor. Sorry, from Radisson. Oh my God. And last but not least, Charbel from IHG. All right. This is going to be fun. I have a feeling. Okay, amazing. I will sit down, I think. And do you notice that this room has a 96% occupancy, gentlemen?
Yeah.
So that already tells you something. I think our panelists kind of have done. We have the answer.
Absolutely. Sustainable occupancy.
Sustainable occupancy. All right.
And all the VIP tickets are reserved for
From our teams.
For Hilton.
Yeah, no, full sale on the booths, right? Okay, excellent. Let's get serious a little bit for a while here. 30 minutes or so, 38 minutes. So the topic is sustainable development. If you Google sustainable, or you wiki sustainable, or do any other search, the first definition that comes up, as a matter of fact, is being sustainable is being able to be maintained at a certain rate or level, able to continue over a long period of time. So I think this is how we're going to dissect our topic in a few different planes. And so this is one of the things that I'd like to talk to you about, because quite obviously you're all tasked with growing the portfolios of your brands in this region. I've been saying this for a while, and maybe I'll stop saying this at some point in my career, but so far it still holds true, that any hotel project is, this may sound a little bit counterintuitive, but it's really a triad of kind of counter-cyclical interests, with owner being on one end, brand being on the other end, operator being on the third end of the triangle. But at the same time, most of these triangles manage to coexist and be sustainable over the period of time, very happily and rather profitably for both sides. Such is the nature of the business, and so it evolved over time, right? That we have 300-page long HMAs, etc., and we feed an army of lawyers, a small army, and then a little bit more while doing it. But it has to come to a compromise, and it has to be a sustainable win-win situation for all involved. So I think I'd like to kick off the discussion with you, Elie, and ask you this fundamental question. The brand only wins if the owner wins. And the development with a specific owner or overall in the market is only going to be sustained as long as the owners are happy and the returns are there. But it all comes down to the relationship. So how do you manage the relationship with these hotel owners so that they keep coming back to you?
Thank you. Good question. Thank you for choosing me first. I The idea...
Putting on the spot, it is called.
Yeah, that's fine. Something about this topic is quite important, as you say. How can we maintain this demand for more hotels, and how are we able to continue signing more hotels in a more competitive market? And a few years ago, I remember thinking to myself, how long am I going to be doing this job for? How long are we still going to continue signing hotels? If we're going to reach a point, there are enough hotels in the market, and then every year we find new ways of signing new hotels and opening new markets and products and brands. And we've all been doing much better year on year, even after COVID. And so one of the main reasons, and we have other reasons which we'll touch on later, is, to your point, existing relationships. In our case, 70% of our owners have more than one hotel with us. Similar statistics with each and every one of my colleagues here. How do you, yeah, I'm sure. You're a good company as well. Owners will come back. So when an owner signs a hotel with us, in most cases, they tend to come back for more, or we tend to sign more than one property with them. And so we have a track record of many owners for the past 20, 30, 40 years. And it is these kind of relationships where you reach the end of a management agreement and you renegotiate, you need to change with the times, the owners are happy, you're doing more deals together, you have a proven track record, the GMs are delivering in that property, the owners see that you're doing well in that property, then they come to you for another property or another signing in a different market or a different product or a hotel next door. So it doesn't start only with us as a development team, but it's also the operations team that proves to the owner that we are a reliable partner, and that is part of our delivery, and that's how we continue having that repeat business from our investors.
Very good. So the way we're going to run it is I'm going to target the question at one of you, and then if anyone else feels like they would like to add something to the owner relations, please feel free.
I can touch base on what Elie just said. We call it, the network effect or the flying wheel. So if our owners are happy and our ops team, are really producing, managing those hotels, efficiently and successfully, there's no doubt, that owners, will come back to you for another project. Like, for example, more than 65% of our new deals, in the last 5 years, okay, are coming from existing owners. And that tells you a lot about the relationship that we maintain with our owners, in addition to the performance that we are delivering for those assets. And talking about sustainability, we've been 70 years in the Middle East. Is this sustainable enough? More than 50 years, in UAE, with the first operator that had started, with our Hilton in Abu Dhabi. So that is, I think, sustainable enough. In addition to that, we focus on growing our footprint. Growing our footprint with sustainable owners are much easier and more respectful. And this is what we're really focusing on. So I don't know, if Ramine would agree to that.
At the end of the day, you won't force somebody to sign a new hotel, right? So they need to be, if it's an existing owner. New ones maybe, but the idea is that or anybody has a hotel, they're delivering numbers, they're delivering quality. Yes, you will do another one most probably with the same owner. Some owners would like to diversify, get then Radisson in, get IG in. That's fine. There's the pie is there for everybody. But if his team or my team is not delivering numbers and quality, I can guarantee you we're not going to get anything else. And it's as simple as that. We work a lot here in the region with government, sovereign, and for them quality comes even before numbers very often, because they have delegations coming in, they have presidents, kings, princes coming in, so they want to make sure the quality is there. And then of course, if we're also delivering numbers, then we get more. And it's very simple.
Thank you. Charbel, would you like to add, or please?
Well, I can add, just to add, as the team said, you have to deliver first. If you don't deliver, then there's no point of talking of sustainable relationship. But I wanted to talk more on the relationship aspect and the culture within the company itself. I think you have to embed in the company an owner center where you approach where you actually prioritize always the investment and understand that the first and foremost is actually about the property.
Don't leave.
Investments. And the relation aspect, I think I can define it in three principles. Always be transparent, have a clear, honest discussion with your owner, set up the expectation, and honesty and transparency build trust build longer relationship. Open dialogue, always communicate, ensure that you have always all these open communication, communicate more, have these regular meetings, have a proactive approach. Don't wait the problem till it hits you. Be proactive. Don't just wait for it. And finally, collaboration. We're in it together. If there's no property that perform, there is no existence for our entire industry. So we're in it together with the owners. So.
Absolutely. I think it's like in any marriage, communication is key, right? If you stop talking, it's kind of a straight road to hell and a recipe for disaster. Thank you very much. And I'm happy to report that we're officially, I think, 100% occupied right now. By the way, everyone who is standing there in the corner, if you think we don't see you because of the lights, we do. There is like 5 empty chairs here if you'd like to take a seat. Thank you, gentlemen. So that is a very good start. Now, moving from the kind of the soft stuff to a little bit more harder stuff and the numbers, which usually translate into dollars or any other type of currency in the bank accounts. Ever since mid-80s, when the hotel companies started to first shed physical assets and then started going public, if they weren't public by then already, there was another aspect added into the mix, and that is the aspect of satisfying the shareholders and the share price. And that is driven by valuation of the company, which in its turn is naturally driven by the number of assets that you have in your pipeline. And sustainability of the pipeline is something that I would like to discuss from the standpoint of the amount of brands that are being created by the hotel companies. I think, Carlos, I'm going to ask you this because out of the present ones, I think Hilton has the most number of brands in the portfolio. Do you think we are getting into the brand fatigue age where, you know, a consumer of the age of 28 born with blonde hair between March 15th and August 10th has its own hotel brand as a niche targeted directly at them? Or, you know, or is there really a need for as many? Or is it just the way for the hotel brands to beef up their portfolio, their valuations, etc.?
Yeah, look, we're very lucky, I mean, in Hilton that we have our set of brands, I mean, are price point driven. And each of our brands, I mean, has its own swim lane. So there's no doubt, I mean, that we are seeing, I mean, efficient approach, I mean, in deploying our brands. I mean, in Saudi Arabia now we have, for example, close to 60 hotels in the pipeline. And talking about sustainability of pipeline, more than 70% of those 60 hotels are under construction. So that should be more than enough, I mean, to justify that those 70% are sustainable and are moving towards, I mean, the finish line in terms of out of the 100, I mean, hotels that we have in the pipeline in the Middle East. So more than half of it are in Saudi Arabia. The rest is in the rest of the Middle East. Here in UAE, we're nearly, I mean, 50 hotels trading plus pipeline, and the sustainability of delivering in our multi-brands continues. We see a gap when it comes, I mean, to the mid-scale products, the Hilton Garden Inn in the Hamptons, which I foresee in the next 2-3 years gonna be, I mean, a sort of a great appetite for those brands. Especially now in Saudi Arabia, which there is a great demand on luxury and lifestyle. And there's no doubt, I mean, that we're looking, I mean, in the next 2-3 years, there will be, I mean, a fantastic appetite or fantastic attraction, I mean, for owners and investors to start developing and thinking of the mid-scale product, which is the Hilton Garden Inn, the Hamptons, the Home2 Suites products, which we are seeing, I mean, a superb appetite, which is going to be very soon, I mean, in the market.
So you are saying pretty much not too many, just the appropriate number of brands for the various pockets of demand that we have?
There should be. I mean, brands are done. I mean, for a reason, and it's to drive price points. Not everyone is able. I mean, to stay at the Waldorf Astoria and pay maybe $600-700 per night. There is people who would love. I mean, to come and travel to Dubai or Abu Dhabi and stay at the Hilton Garden and get, I mean, a great service and pay, I mean, the $100, $120. So those brands are established for a reason, to drive, I mean, different type of clienteles for different type of products.
Gentlemen, anything to add on the variety of brands and whether this is a sustainable way of growth into the future?
We focus on 5-6 brands, but the short answer is yes. The reason we want to remain more relevant to the market, one of the reasons to remain more relevant to the market is by creating a brand or a product that fills a gap in that market. Over 10 years ago, 15 years ago, there was more demand for economy and budget hotels, and then more and more economy and budget hotels came onto the market to meet that demand from consumers. They were very efficient in real estate and returns on investment, so that met a gap in the market from the investor side and from the consumer side. There's more demand for lifestyle hotels because of the changing trends of the consumer, so we all developed lifestyle hotels on the different tiers. There was more demand for conversion brands, so we developed conversion brands to take over existing hotels, independent hotels, to keep up with the trends in the market. So I think it's a very good thing over the years where we've created products and brands to meet those gaps in the market, to remain relevant, to remain competitive, to survive over the next 10 years, as we did over the previous 10 years. But of course, we always draw some caution here. Too many is not good either. So I think every operator has
I wish we had one more brand and operator on the panel.
Sorry?
I wish we had one more brand and operator on the panel
Yeah?
to talk about the too many brands.
Yeah, without naming any names. So the idea is,
no one's stopping you.
as long as we have enough for the company, enough to meet our requirements. If we're able to service 10 more brands, I think the company should be able to do it. But I think it's the balance that each company has for itself.
Okay. So go ahead.
Actually, I wanted to agree pretty much with Elie, because I think the drive of any brand is pretty much driven by the market need, the guest need, because the sole purpose of any brand is actually driven by the guest need and the investor need. As long as there is a gap, there's a place for brand. And I think each operator will have different strategy. So you might have a multiple brand, diversified, very diversified, or very focused brand. In our case in IG, I think we go for more the balanced kind of portfolio brand, and we ensure to develop new brand. But I think what we need to ensure as well, all of us, is that we need to create that brands that last and evolve. Because if the brand don't evolve and they don't adapt through time as well, it kills. It just dies. So this is very important. When I say a balance and focused, again, resonating with Elie, so each brand should have its own identity, its own target, and its own segment, and it should be clearly defined. Because if you don't define it clearly, what happens is you're confusing the consumer, you're confusing the guests, and you're confusing your owners. So this is very important to ensure there's clear identity between your brand and your portfolio. And I can give the example. So lately we have introduced in our lifestyle and luxury, Regent, Kimpton, Indigo, or Vignette. And each of these brands have a clear identity, and we ensured that we segregated. So it didn't dilute, like for instance, the Intercontinental brand. It complemented it. So we had that gap and we found it. At the same time, I give another example about evolving brand. Holiday Inn there, been there now for 70 years. It kept evolving and it stood against time. And lately we just reimagined the entire Holiday Inn with the concept of open lobby and everything. So it is important to have brands that evolve. Otherwise, we're not creating good brands.
Yeah, and this is one of my favorite stories about the longevity, sustainability in the sense of longevity. Please.
But I think it's very accurate in the sense that if your current brands can't evolve, then and there is a gap for it, for this new aspect, then just create a new one, right? We did a bit of the same with Anantara, where in the last 5 years, Anantara has been known as a resort brand, historically. In the last 5 years, we've done one resort. Everything else has been urban. And it's trying to basically revamp the brand into something new that works and that uses the goodwill of the name, right? But just last point, we were talking about the brand creation, and very often the operators are, portrayed as the cowboys, just, coming in with a new brand. The owners very often, and we explain that to them, they underestimate the cost of creating a new brand on our side, right? If we're going through the effort of research, or, researching the market, designing the brand standards, marketing campaigns, and a whole strategy, it's very expensive. And if we're putting that much investment on our side, this is not being charged back to an owner, right? We're doing it on our front. We have trust that this brand will work, and we're proposing to you as an owner, XYZ brand. We've done our research. We think this is good for you, and this will work for you. And we've put in a lot of effort on our side, and this is where we are on the same side here. We want the hotel to succeed. We're not just here to put a flag and walk away.
That's a very good segue to my next point.
Good.
But just to wrap this up, I think this is a very good point that you bring up in terms of the ROI on the side of the brand. This is rarely talked about, okay? And having been in advisory for so many years, I know very well that when we're running ROI calculations on the owner's side, you guys are running ROI calculations on your side as well. I think I'm going to actually, this is a good idea for a panel next year. Securing ROI for hotel brands. This will be a different spin on the subject matter. Anyway, so I think catching on what you said, and if you would not put a brand on the building if it wouldn't succeed. What is generally the thinking process behind offering this or that brand? And as a person who sits on the other side of the table very frequently representing owners' interests, negotiating HMAs with you guys, etc., I know that we naturally always gravitate towards the flagship brands. I will ask, Intercon of you, a classic Radisson or Radisson Blue of you, a Hilton, etc. How do you then look at the specific market or a sub-market to tell me, absolutely no, this is an Indigo, or what have you? So can you talk a little bit about that? Why not a Hilton or a Radisson or an Intercon on every corner?
Yeah, look, it depends on a lot of factors. You're in the advisory section, and you know that. We look at locations. Drive. Which brand fits in X location or Y location. So there is a lot. In addition to that, the budget plays a big role over here. There's a lot of owners that came to me, and they want to do a Waldorf Astoria in X location, and then we ended up signing a Hilton Garden. So
that's a very nice twist of the plot.
You cannot build a Waldorf Astoria with $120,000 per key. So you have to, and in addition to that, the size, the build-up areas. We always advise, our owners, to seek, third-party consultants, because we, ourselves, we give our opinion to our owners, but there's no doubt for us, to see a success in the project. We would like, as well as an operator, to hear what's the third-party consultants, like your previous job, or like so many successful third-party consultants. They are really well present in the market, and we would like, to hear from them. And nowadays, owners, are taking a shortcut, to the operator and say, well, we would like, to see your projection. There's no doubt about it. We can provide, our projection, but we're biased, to our numbers. But it will always be, and this is an advice from me, to the owners, to seek third-party consultants. It's not going to cost them a lot of money to actually provide a sustainability for that project. And what I mean by sustainability, our deals, are signed for 20, 25 years, and maybe 30 or 34 years if it's luxury. So in order to retain that length of contract, we need, to make sure both parties, ownership, investors, and us, that we are choosing, the right thing for that location. And that's basically, how we look, to identify, the right brand fit for the right location. There is a tertiary location, there's secondary location, there's prime locations. So each location depends, and we have a brand fit for each location and each budget.
Absolutely. Okay. I guess I should have clarified my question that, it's among equal brands, not Waldorf versus the Hilton Garden, of course.
Yeah.
But, in Jonathan's case, Intercontinental versus the Kimpton.
I exaggerated
Right,
a little bit. It happens that some of the ownership, really want.
Oh, trust me, we see it all the time. All the time.
Which
You're sitting somewhere in the secondary market with 100K per key.
Because our job here, our responsibility as developers, is not to give, the floor to the owner to choose the brand. Because at the end of the day, we're responsible to deliver, and to operate this hotel successfully. So we want to make sure that we, as experienced individual in the market, to choose the right brand fit. But then some owners does, IHG gave me a luxury. Okay, fine. Go to IHG. Go to IHG.
Did you give a luxury?
I will take the positive. I will echo Carlos.
He signed the deal.
Recommendation to really, it's important to get these consultants, because I think we always talk about the brand, but first, it's an investment. It's not an investment even for 20, 30 years. The longevity of the building is 60, 70, and 80 years. So it's your investment as an owner. You want to know what kind of investment and how it's going to last, because as the brand has to last, the building has to last. So it has to be there and for to be built for the future. So therefore, I think it starts with the product definition. It doesn't start with the brand. The discussion should not be about the brand initially. It should be about the product definition. And unfortunately, we're getting these questions is what we think as an operator. And we're biased because we have to think from our side. And this is why it's important to get these consultants. But in these events, what we're doing, we're getting a collaborative internal approach where we're getting our investment analysis, we're getting our commercial and operations. So we put all these together and we focus on the product definition. And the brand association comes later on at a later stage. So it's very important, as Carlos said, please, owners, get your consultant, get your product right, and then see which brand. Because the brand and the product then will be one at certain time.
That is a very interesting approach, and it's actually counter to kind of the Hotel Advisory 101, because typically I always used to say that, my quote-unquote favorite situation is when a client comes in with an idea of an architectural concept and the visuals ingrained in his mind already. He's already in love with this virtual building that doesn't exist. And then he tells us, can you please run the feasibility on this? In 99% of cases, the feasibility doesn't check out, and then it's a struggle. And it's a struggle to bring the numbers together, and then it's a struggle to find the brand. So what you're saying is actually almost opposite, unless I misunderstood.
How do you remedy that, though?
Oh.
Now you're on the panel.
Now you ask me.
No, I'm actually interested. How do you solve this issue that he has a...
Listen, frankly, there are two ways, okay? You can say, okay, dear client, Peter Smith, hotels are a labor of love. You don't have to make money. You can still build this beautiful building. No doubt it's beautiful. We're pretty sure we can find you a brand that will hang the name on the door. However, your expected length of return, period of return, is about 27 years. If you're comfortable with that, please go ahead. It is a beautiful building indeed. However, if you'd like our advice, we would tweak a few things and we would come up with a concept that is slightly more feasible commercially.
Okay. I think we should have a consultancy.
Together, between the five of us.
A different kind of panel. I think it's the responsibility of the consultant to bring these honest and transparent discussions. If the positioning, if an owner wants a 6-star or a 5-star or whatever it is, and then the position of that hotel doesn't work, it should be said. And as Carlos was saying, that sometimes we're having these really difficult discussions with owners to say, it doesn't work because we have responsibility. And I don't think this is the responsibility only of the operator. It comes from the consultants and the owners as well.
But he won't be able to, I mean, I don't think, but he won't be able to sign it. At some point, somebody's going to be doing, checks and balances and say, you're going to open an intercon at, $60 rate. So what
Don't
are we
believe
doing?
Carlos what he said, but
No, but this is why,
and it is a code of ethics of a consultant to tell the client the truth, no matter how hard this truth is. If consultant is
but
on
even
board,
if there's no consultant, right? Even if the owner is I mean, we're here to really advise the owner and tell them, look, your hotel, you have a good location, but it's not a luxury location. And then we think, you should build an H, or you should build something, if they're receptive to this, and again, considering we are on the same side here, we want to make money, right? As an operator, we want to be able to generate fees. Therefore, we think the best brand for you is NH, Avani, or whatever it might be.
And that is an excellent segue to my next question.
You see, I'm setting you up.
You're constantly, we didn't rehearse, dear audience, we did not rehearse this. So my next question, which will probably be last or one before last, based on the time, is what if you sign an NH collection, and it's 3 years later, you should be nearing stabilization, and it's not freaking working.
Somebody
What
else's
do you
problem.
What do you do as brands? Or Elie, you
they
sign a
call us.
Radisson
Yeah,
collection, or a Waldo.
They call us
You give it to
come.
Hilton.
We give them Elie's number.
No, but seriously, okay,
No, look,
yeah, we
I
can all
mean,
laugh about it, but is there a way to remedy
Yeah,
the
I
situation?
mean,
What would you do?
you
You won't
need
top
to
up
be-
in most cases.
No, look, you need to be reasonable, right? I mean, the thing is, Minor is a very, very major owner. We own a lot of assets, right? So on that side, we understand it, and we'll be coming ahead of the owner and say, hey, we have a problem here. Let's think about alternatives, or whether it's an alternative brand. Again, that has a cost. We can't just flip the flag and expect it to cost nothing. Do we change some concepts of the hotel, some room types? Do we bring in a couple of tenants on the F&B? What do you want to do? I mean, we need to identify the problem. Some locations don't work because of F&B.
So jump into sort of an asset manager's shoes almost. But I think that's probably the uniqueness of Minor, as you said, as a major
I
hotel.
think I assume you will do this. I don't think you let them die on the side of the
No,
road.
don't let them die.
You will go
I
and
did
have.
not experience.
Yeah, sorry. He always picks the right brand. Nice one.
No, honestly, how would you go about this? Okay, change brand is obviously a very obvious choice, but as you
But
say,
it
it comes
costs
with
money.
it comes
It costs
with a
money.
cost. We are having these thoughts, frankly, with a few hotels that we asset manage. Owners are having these thoughts. They're saying, okay, this is not quite the performance I signed up for when I built this building. Do we want to scale up, scale down on a brand, and how would you become an advisor then to the owner?
Sometimes the location doesn't develop as expected either.
Also.
So there's a lot of factors to take into account. In most cases, we would avoid that situation. We're looking at a property in Jeddah. The owner wants a 5-star. The configuration doesn't work. So because of the configuration, we brought it down to a Radisson instead of a Radisson Blue. Owner wasn't happy, but we told him, listen, you're not going to be able to do a Radisson Blue. We're not going to sign with you, but we have to reconfigure the entire project, and then we can do a 140, 150, 160 key Radisson, 4-star rating. So before we get to the problem, I think if we reach a point where we're not going to deliver, then in most cases we will not sign it. We'll try to reconfigure the project. Now, if we get to a point where it's not delivering, then there's different things. If it's the location, it's beyond our control. If the brand itself is not delivering, we had a couple of cases where we upgraded a couple of Park-In by Radissons to Radisson, and that had a 20% premium on the average rate, and that's how we improved the. In other cases, we looked at some of the F&B outlets. Since if one or two of them were not working, we outsourced them. We tried to find creative ways to put out the fire, but in most cases, we try not to reach there. So there are many scenarios, and I think there are many examples, and these are just a few that came to mind.
Any other thoughts?
rarely that happens. But seriously, when this happens, I think first you have to define the reason, because Elie touched on it. If it's a market trend, or the location itself in the market didn't go as it was supposed. and then goes back to the brand. And yes, you have to behave as an asset manager, because at the end of the day, you want to optimize the real estate and you want to make it happen. But back to the same question, if you have enough brands that cover these segments, as long as you as an operator can cover these segments within the market, you're fine. If you don't have, then you might have such challenge from that perspective. But it boils down, what's your expectation? What's your current location? And what do you need to do to optimize it? And I think it's not an emotional discussion. It should be a very scientific discussion, and goes back to, let's bring as well a third-party consultant to discuss these and address it the most appropriate way.
And I think goes back to the kind of initial point where you guys meet the owner and you evaluate the location and the market and everything else, correct? Okay, yeah. So given we have 5 minutes left, I have a wild card question for you that was not prepared for. It's not a difficult one, it's more of a fun. I was going to ask you where you see the market in 2050, but I thought it was going to be boring. So I'll ask you a different question. If I gave each one of you $50 million and asked you to put it into a hotel asset from your portfolio in one of the markets around the region, what would it be and where?
50 or 15?
50, 50. I'm very rich today. I'm feeling generous.
Into renovation, you mean?
No, building a new hotel.
Oh, because you said into one of your assets. So
sorry, one of the brands. Asset under one of your brands.
Okay. So
I'm thinking faster than I'm talking sometimes, yeah.
It's very simple. Yeah. I'm going to leverage at 10. I'm going to build a hotel in each brand.
No, at $50 million, no, you can't do that.
I'd put
one single asset.
Sorry, one asset, as in, so you want the location or the brand, or both?
Both, both,
yeah?
both. Which one of the Radisson brands would you build and where?
He will build maybe 5 of the Radissons.
Yeah, if you can find financing, please. No, but honestly, don't overanalyze it. It's more of a fun question rather than a serious one. No, but what I'm asking is, guys, where do you see potential?
I'd do a Radisson Red in a resort location in Greece, in Mykonos.
Okay. I should have asked them to remove that part of Greece from your title so that you would talk about Middle East. What about if
you said anywhere?
Anywhere in your area, yes. What about if it was in the Middle East?
In a beach resort location in Dubai, a Radisson Red. There are 95% of the beach resort supply in Dubai is in the 5-star category. The market needs more affordable beach resorts and lifestyle. I'd put it into a funky 150-key Radisson Red resort in Dubai, beach resort.
Awesome.
That's assuming you're not paying for the land then.
Come on, don't overcomplicate
No,
it.
I'm just saying. Okay.
I'm a consultant here.
We're very thorough in our jobs.
Things.
Okay.
Yeah, look, I mean, I would definitely look at the up and coming regions, like what's happening in Saudi Arabia is extremely exciting, and then I would love, I mean, to have, I mean, a dual brand, I mean, a Hilton Garden Inn and the Home2 Suites, because the Home2 Suites cater for medium to long range, and the Hilton Garden Inn caters to a completely different segment, which is the short-term business. Anywhere, I mean, in Riyadh or anywhere in Jeddah, those delivers, I mean, extremely high returns with a very focused amount or cost in terms of development. So development of these kind of products are prototypical. It's well defined. There's not much of variations, because usually variations, I mean, what kills the project. So I would say, I mean, Hilton Garden Inn and Hilton and the Home2 Suites, a combo product would work all the way around.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, but we still have time for you. Time is not up.
Because this question is for us, so I would always bet where's the biggest gap, and I will go for Saudi today, because I see the focus in lifestyle and luxury. So what I would do is I will do a rollout of a Holiday Inn Express, and the 50 million can allow we actually to roll out more, or the Garner that we are just introduced. So I see a big gap. So from an return on investment, I think this is where I would place the money that you're giving it to me.
Excellent. And Ramine?
I think we're probably in agreement here on the tapping into the fast to market or quick to market 4-star, 3.5-star for the current very busy business segment in Saudi. and open. In our portfolio would be like an NH hotel, you know, smaller rooms, serviced apartments with it, you know, studios. And this you can be up and running in 18 months. And we can do...
You're doing prefab?
We can, no problem there.
All right, thank you. We have 1 minute left. If someone from the audience has a very quick question for my wonderful panel. If not, then I think we can wrap it up. And I was given the honor to introduce the next moderator. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.